Says I'm live. Hey, my name's Sean, guys. Federal Prison Talk. And I got this other channel. Never thought it was going to take off. It was my original channel. It's called Earth Still Primitive, Not Allowed in Space. I'll explain that in a minute. Right after this little introductory song that I wrote when I was in prison, man. Yeah, I wrote that song when I was in prison, and I saw Mario was up here. He said I'm ready, man. So guys, I'm trying to get back into the swing of doing this YouTube thing. I got some news clips to show you guys. We could talk about all kinds of stuff, man. People getting busted, Trump stuff. Yes, I voted for Trump, so let me give you a warning right now. If you are a Trump hater, go away and just never come back. Sorry, I voted for him before I went to prison and when I got out. And yes, felons can vote in almost every state. There's a few states that make you pay your restitution or get off probation, but more now. I moved to New Mexico, and now I met the guy too. A year and a half ago, got the bill passed where felons could vote whether you're on probation, as long as you're out. You can even in San Francisco, you could even be in the halfway house. Actually, in San Francisco, I've been to jail. And they come around because you're not convicted yet, right? A lot of people are not. They're waiting, they're being held there and they let you vote. They bring you the ballot. Yes. So, I got to meet that guy, man. And he said he'd do a podcast with me and all that. I just met him for 5 minutes, but he was a felon and he pushed, man, so that New Mexico felons could vote. And, I'll tell you a story. So, I work in I was working for Wings for Life. I worked for this Duke City Recovery. Now I'm working for Vital Care Recovery. I started at the end of the month. I start the first of the month there. I'm working for Christian counseling professionals now, kind of on the side, just till this job comes in. And I get hit up all the time because I got this certified peer support worker certificate from the state of New Mexico, behavior, health, and mental health. Long story. Yeah. So you actually go to university, take some classes for my certificate. They got some other online ones for smaller, peer support workers, but I got the hardest one to get. And next week I'm getting a little extra added on once before I take this job, and it's $25 an hour, and it's going to be great. And it's helping homeless people and people out of prison, people out of jails, all that kind of stuff. That's what gives me purpose, guys. I'm 60 years old. I mean, I look like it. But man, I'm supposed to be dead 20 years ago, man. Prison changed my life. Jail, wake up call, maybe. Drug rehabs, they're good. I mean, they work, but they don't. Do they last? No, they didn't last for me. All that stuff built me. Prison was it, man. But I went to a camp, guys. I'm in a penitentiary. Shit, I wouldn't have made it. If I would have come out. I would have came out an asshole, tough. Oh man, I would have had to change everything about me. But I got to change everything about me going to a camp, but in a good way. The penitentiary, man. Whew. Boy, you got to be a tough guy all the time, man. Talk about looking over your shoulder all the time. Anyways, so I was talking about a couple different things. So I started this. I had a YouTube channel, man, back in. I think it's 14 years old now. It's just my personal little YouTube channel, and I used to do karaoke songs on it and stuff. It was back in 2008, something like that. But I kept it, and it was still there when I got out of prison. And I changed the name. So here's why I changed the name. Because, guys, I believe in UFOs and aliens and all that stuff. We're not alone in this universe. You think we are. So I have a question for you. Can you name one day in the history of this planet? I don't care if you go back to biblical times, dinosaur days, caveman days, Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, whatever, any day in history. There was no war going on the planet. And the war could be, a few people, it could be a country. Name one day we didn't have a war going on here in all of mankind. The only answer I ever heard was somebody said the first day. I said, you're probably right, but later that night. So imagine, if you will, there is life on other planets and you're a teenager and you just get your brand new spaceship and you're cruising around the universe and you want to go check out that planet Earth because you heard all about it. But because your parents have warned you, don't even go to the Milky Way galaxy. Because that planet, can you name a day that it's never had a war? How many times have humans come and gone? And it's a dangerous place, man. I wouldn't want to come here. So that's why I call the name of the channel Earth, Still Primitive, Not Allowed in Space. And also the conspiracies that we landed on the moon. I believe we landed on the moon. But when that dark side of the moon came, and I think we went off camera for a few hours, I think then it was filmed in a studio. While they were doing the studio thing, the conspiracy, we're talking to some aliens who had been waiting for us to say, I don't know how your little tin can, your Apollo 1 or whatever the hell it was, Apollo 3, I forget the name of the first Apollo that landed on the moon, the one that made it there. They must have been laughing at us. How the hell did you get up here with a tin can? But you guys are going, no, you're going back, and you can't come back again. You can't come out in space. And if we catch you, you're done. I'm pretty sure somebody told them we're not welcome there because we never went back. It was the space race. Hell, the Russians, the Japanese, every country wanted to go. France, every country wanted to go to the moon. You would have thought at least Russia would have went second. Nobody. It's been 50 years. Nobody went back to the moon. They're talking about going now. Why wouldn't they go back to the moon now? Earth's too primitive. We're primitive. We're not allowed in space. They're ready for it. They don't want us up there. Hell. And what about our satellites and stuff? I guess we got to keep the satellites, but the space shuttle program got shut down and everything, man. And people know. The higher up, something's going on, man. 50 years, we never went back. No other country landed on the moon after us? Come on. Really? So think about it, man. And enough about that. Let's talk about prison. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. So I got some clips I'm going to show you. I got a link if you want to call in live. The number's right there. Right there. If you want to call in live, you can. And you want to chat, it's fine. If you want to come on the show, I got the links. Just click the link. You got to allow your camera and microphone, and I think that's about it. It's pretty easy. It's StreamYard. Yeah, I'm not screening anybody. If you say something, I'll just click you off. And YouTube shuts down the video. Who knows? But let's go to this first. There's a guy who attacked a judge. I just got these little stories I clipped today, the current stories. A guy attacked the judge. Let's see what happened and find out how much time he got, huh?
Profile case. The man whose day in court in Las Vegas made headlines around the world by jumping on the judge learned how much time he will serve for the crime. This was the video of Deobra Redden jumping over Judge Mary Kay Holthus's bench and attacking her. This happened back in January. This was all during a sentencing on prior attempted battery charges. Today, Redden was sentenced from 26 to 65 years in jail for the attack. Before learning the punishment, Redden addressed the courtroom.
I'm not a bad person. I don't understand why the state is trying to prove me as a bad person. I understand they have a job to do, but this is just, it's not right to me. I finally watched the whole video. I was standing here in the courtroom.
So I think it's a little normal today. He's getting sentenced. But that day, man, was he on something? He just might have been on adrenaline, man. Let me see. Let's watch it. Now I want to see him jump that judge again.
All of you guys, I finally saw the entire video, Judge Johnson. I can't believe this.
Redden pleaded guilty, but mentally ill for the crime. The incident earned him
only for the crime,
counts, including battery, intimidating an officer, and unlawful use of a bodily fluid for spitting on court officers. Unlawful
use of a bodily fluid, spitting. That's, boy. I want to watch him jump the judge again.
The man whose day in court in Las Vegas made headlines around the world by jumping on the judge learned how much time he will serve for the crime.
Did you see that? I love it, man. I love it. So I don't know what you guys think of that. I don't know if it says how much time he got. I don't know. Not sure if it says how much time he's got. What do you guys think? How much time should he have gotten, huh? What do you think? Was he a bad boy? You know what I mean? What do you guys? I don't know. I think I could find out how much time he got. Let's see. No, I can't. It's not saying. It's not saying, man. Shit. So I got these little things I was going to show you. Another clip here. All right. This next one is. Remove this one. Let's see. Do we want to talk about Trump yet? Yeah. Let's just see what this. I got all these clips lined up.
Department heads received this memo Tuesday, instructing them to let employees know not to return to office as they take steps to shut down all DEI offices, programs, and initiatives. They were also instructed to take down any websites or social media that promote inclusion.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, Tommy.
You motherfucker. I almost had him. You stuttering prick, yeah.
I don't think she's kidding, though.
I mean, it's incredibly alarming. We as a country strive to create a more equitable space for everyone.
Democrats on the offensive as Donald Trump's sweeping order to eliminate DEI positions comes to fruition.
It is nothing but an effort to repeal the progress that this nation has made.
You know, I got the answer for this guy, man.
Tough guy. I said, all right, I'll tell you something. Go fuck your mother.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Over the last 60 years.
While layoffs loom in government and military positions, the private sector is also following suit. In recent months, corporations like McDonald's, Walmart, and Meta
they're all catching on it, man. This
have all
stuff
cleaved their diversity hiring initiatives. For Republican Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri,
it's like reverse discrimination.
What DEI it's rooted in this cultural Marxism that's race essentialism. It gets people in a room and divides people by oppressor and oppressed.
The move is expected to face several legal challenges in Washington.
Hey, I get in the early days it wasn't fair. Maybe they only hired white guys or whatever. Women didn't move up. Man, I'm born and raised in San Francisco, guys. Pretty much every CEO or I worked in hotels and restaurants, pretty much all in charge by women. I might have had one hotel where there was a man who was like, the big boss, but usually it was women, man. It was women. Over plenty of gay guys, all that stuff, man. As long as you work and you know what you're doing and you work hard, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do at home in your bedroom. Look, I don't have a parade for my street lifestyle. So why should you have a parade for your gay lifestyle? You know what I mean? Really? You had to flaunt it. There was this guy, man. His name was Scotty. I worked at the Marriott Hotel and I was doing room service. And he was a gay guy. He was one of them flames. And this guy was funny as fuck because when we get off work, we'd all come back in and we used to get like a free meal and we could have shift drink and all this. He put on this shirt. It was his favorite shirt. It said, he goes, "Hi, my name's Scotty. See my shirt? It says, disco sucks and so do I." And he was funny as hell. I didn't care. And maybe that isn't appropriate now. But the guy was funny. And the Marriott Hotel, this is back in the 80s, early 90s, they didn't care what you looked like, what color you were. Just do the job, okay? So I get it. I get what he's doing. Man. But, a lot of people are pissed off. So, and actually he's taking one of these stories here. They're losing their jobs, man. They're all being told not to come to work. I think that's what this next one is.
President Trump's executive order means that thousands of federal workers here in Richmond who haven't been working at the office will now have to pack their bags and make their way back and scramble to find another solution. And some lawmakers are worried that this could be a political move that could cause many to lose their jobs.
Hey, thank you, Kenny. Let me see, Kenny. That's right. I thought I saw some 65 years, man. What do you think he would have got if he didn't do that? Damn, you know. Wow. Thanks, Kenny, man. I mean, I don't. Let's see what else.
The idea that it is a good idea to try to get federal workers to quit or to put them in trauma. You know, I was a business guy. That would be.
You know what? I'm
tough guy. I said, all right, I'll tell you something. Go fuck your mother.
I mean,
in front of me, this big prick again. He says, oh, what do you want to tell me now, tough guy? I said, Ming, what are you doing here? I thought I'd tell you to go fuck your mother.
You gotta take it lightly, man. You just gotta take it like, come on, guys.
Malpractice in management if you're trying to intimidate and traumatize your workforce.
Senator Mark Warner sounding off on the slew of executive orders signed by President.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't really care, man. But, you know, Mr. Wayne wants to talk about it. We can talk about it. Like I said, call in live, click the link, go on the show. Let's see what this next story is. I just put a whole bunch of it.
I don't even know what to feel. I mean, I guess I should feel joy. Maybe I'm just shocked.
The end of a long road for Rachel Powell, pardoned by President Trump and released Tuesday from a jail here in Washington, D.C. Rachel became known as the Pink Hat Lady when footage emerged of her breaking a window at the Capitol with an ice axe during the January 6 attack. A mom to 8 and a grandmother to 7, I interviewed Rachel before she began what was supposed to be a years-long prison sentence last year.
How'd I have time to plan an insurrection when my life is busy like this?
On her release on Tuesday, she was met by activists who gave her new clothes, new boots, and a new pink hat.
Woo! Glory! Hallelujah! Thank you, Lord! This man came from the Philadelphia jail. He got out at 3 a.m. That doesn't make sense. He's wearing prison shoes. Gotta get away from here. And Philadelphia's finest prison gear.
Pardoned January 6ers from elsewhere began arriving in Washington, like William Patrick Sarsfield III, who was convicted of a felony offense of obstruction of law enforcement during a civil disorder.
I love it, man. I love it, man.
Apps and different programs and different phone calls from people that we still had brothers and sisters that were still locked up and haven't been released. And being somebody that's been in D.C., that everybody should be released if it's a pardon.
Yeah. But you know what? Hey, man, some of these guys been locked up a year or two.
You got out of prison last night?
Well, I was locked up for 3.5 years, and I was taken to the halfway house on.
Last night and came to D.C. to celebrate. Morse, a former Army Ranger, was found guilty of assaulting police officers, among other crimes, on January 6th.
I had no intention of going anywhere near the Capitol that day. That's how crazy this got. So a lot of people were taken advantage of, and we were lured into a lobster trap that January 6th.
You fucking kidding me? What the fuck? I'm not fucking Justin Bieber, you motherfuckers.
I said the words, Donald Trump did not force me or coerce me to do what I did that day. I did it on my own accord.
What's your message to people watching this who say, she shouldn't have been pardoned, none of these people should have got out of prison, they're criminals?
Okay, you know what?
Hey, man, I got somebody commenting here, so your comments are more important than what I'm just trying to come up with some topics. So let me see what Kenny's saying. Is it Kenny or Ken? Ken, I guess it's Ken. Ken's YouTube. Ken, you got a YouTube channel? Promote it, man. Let us know. He says Trump is also the president behind the First Step Act that has made it possible for thousands of inmates to cut significant time off their sentence. I mean, I got some time off too. They just started it, but I got it on the back end. I got a couple months off the halfway house time, but then I got off probation. I got 3 months. Because they were trying to figure it all out then. I would have, but I mean, I took RDAP. I got a year off for that, and your good time, and so I had a 52-month sentence with everything with RDAP and the good time and all that. I did 26 months at the camp and 4 months at the halfway house. So I got it shaved off a little bit, but it's fine, man. I mean, like I said, I voted for Trump. I voted for him twice. I voted for him 3 times, actually. Yeah. And somehow I found a way to do the 4 years in prison. But see, when I was on probation and I got out of prison in 2019, you could vote in California, whether you're a felon or not. So I got to vote again in 20, and now I'm off probation a couple of years now. I got to vote here, but I was on pretrial when he ran in 16, and I voted then. So, I voted 3 times for the guy. So, but here's the thing. There's this. I'll tell you this: the haters aren't really coming out like they used to. Okay, yeah, the guy, yeah, he fucks hookers, he does all this, right? The guy's probably not a good husband, but everything else about him I like. And are we good? I mean, look at all the other politicians, So the haters just really aren't coming out like they were. They wanted to kill the guy before. Oh, hell, I mean, but here's the thing I heard though, because he's got this new, he signed all these executive orders, right? So if he wants to do away with a birthright being a citizen, but if I remember right, his mother came from, I want to say, where did Arnold Schwarzenegger come from? That country, not Germany, but I think his mother was born, maybe it was Germany, but it was, I think his mother gave birth to him in this country is why he's so you know what I mean? Like his mother was not a citizen. She came here from Austria. I believe it was Austria. She came here pregnant with Donald and had him in this country, but you know what I mean? So if somebody come from, people come over here, they sneak over the border from Mexico. They have a child, and now the child's an American citizen. His mother came over here. I don't think she was an American citizen, and she had it. He's actually one of them. So you better be careful, man. I'm pretty sure that was a story I heard him say years ago. So he might just have to. It might backfire on him, man. I hope I'm wrong, man. Maybe somebody knows. Let's see what else he says here. I have a relative who was sentenced unto a year and a day in prison, and thanks to the First Step Back, he has out 3 days short of 6 months. Damn. Hey, the sentences are getting lesser and lesser, man. So I got sentenced in 2017, but times are changing, and the jail, they're closing down prison camps. The halfway houses are so full because it's First Step Back that there's overflow. So the halfway house is putting people on home confinement. A lot of people don't know the halfway house runs home confinement, not probation, guys. Okay, house arrest maybe is probation, but home confinement is run by the halfway house, and they don't have enough staff to monitor the houses. Then they fill up. So what they're doing is people are getting time off their sentence because it's all over and it's all backed up. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys don't have a house. I didn't have one. I had nowhere to go when I got out. I needed that halfway house. As much as it was in a Tenderloin, man. A pretty bad place. I mean, guys are literally shooting up, I mean, just, this is before fentanyl. I could imagine what it's like now. Oh, God, the zombies are just in front of that halfway house. But it was bad then. But I still needed that place. And I found a job. They make you find a job. If you don't find a job, I had 3 weeks to find a job. Or they said you're going to do community service at one of the soup kitchens here. And you'll lose your right to look for work. So you got 3 weeks to find a job. You can't keep looking and do community service. No, they said you'll do community service for your whole 6 months that you're here or whatever. You get 3 weeks to find a job. If you don't, we don't let you work. And they were charging 25% of my income back then. I think maybe if I didn't find a job, they would rather have the income than, maybe I could have called their bluff, but I found a job. But I needed it. I had nowhere to go. So home confinement wasn't an option for me, but there's a lot of guys that have a place to go to, and it's overfilled. So their sentences are getting less. Let's see what else he says. No, just use the name Ken's. Okay, YouTube. Don't have a channel. Okay. All right on, man. He spent only 1 month in a halfway house. Depends where you go. I mean, there's some halfway houses in little towns that are motels, and they got it easy. Mine had like 400 people. And man, I'm telling you, it was full of pictures. Okay, it was full of pedophiles, man. I went to a camp, but everybody comes to a halfway house. It don't matter what your background. And there was this little smoking area that we had outside, and we all used to sit and chat. And there was a bunch of women there, and one of them was pulling up the was it Amber's Law? There's in California. There's a website you can go to look up sexual predators, and they found it has the address of where all of them at. And they found like 32 of these 400 people, and these weren't just like looking at pictures on their computer. These guys had kidnapped little kids and tortured them and kept them tied up and everything else. And they were in the halfway house. And two of these women went and talked to the director of the halfway house, and they almost got thrown out for bringing it up because they're not supposed to look at that stuff. And we're supposed to. They're the victims now. And if you go to a low prison, a low federal prison, I heard it's 60-70%, fucking child molesters, chomos, chesters, whatever you want to call them. It's pretty bad. And they are the victims. If you go up to them and even confront them on their crime, you get thrown in the shoe. And they investigate. It says he spent 1 month halfway house, and they did not make him get a job because they knew he would be going, oh yeah, a month there. When I don't know if he went before the pandemic. I was before the pandemic, so a lot changed since then. So I guess he's doing good now. I'm hoping. Shortly after that, he left the halfway house and left the halfway house in Illinois. The operators of that halfway house canceled the contract, saying the government are being too strict on him. Some halfway houses have closed. It's a big job. So I get to go to the federal halfway house here in Albuquerque, and I took RDAP, and I actually go over there, and I'm about to start up a new session. So I teach RDAP, guys. I've been out of prison like going on 6 years now. So I got all the RDAP books and everything. I get to teach RDAP to these guys who just got out of prison, and because a lot of them need to take they have to have so many hours of community service, so many hours of either IOP. Some of them I was required to do a drug program when I got out. I did one before I went in. It was called Newbridge, and that was a 6-month one, and I stayed a year while I was a pretrial, and then I didn't have to go to jail. I did RDAP inside, and then I was required to do one when I got out. So, and here in Albuquerque, they make them do 40 hours community service, at least at a minimum, or it was 100. I think 100 hours community service. They have to do IOP. They have to do classes. Most of them do. But I get to go over there, and it's great, man. So we're starting up, I think, middle of February, starting up a new class. So it's great, man. I love it, man. Get there. I get to talk to guys fresh out, first day out. Been out 3 days. I love it, man. Let's see. I was a charity run halfway house, and then it was charity run halfway, and did not make inmates pay for fee. Yeah, they stopped all that. I don't think none of them are charging fees anymore. Yeah, the one I go to is called Dearson Charities, and they have about 20 of them all over the country. That may be the same company. It was post-pandemic, and he's doing great. Good to hear. Good to hear. The halfway house also did not demand a portion of the inmates' pay for those who were working, like so many others still do. I don't know if any of them are doing that anymore, because I think unless they stopped doing it during the pandemic and now they're doing it again. But I had to pay 25%, and if I was 10 cents short, man, I seen guys argue over that 10 cents, and they got thrown out. They called the marshals, pick them up. So I'm glad they're not doing that anymore. I got very lucky all around. He got very lucky all around. Yeah. There's no good time to go to prison or federal prison. But I always say, if you got to go to prison, you want to go to federal prison. If you're going to go to federal prison, you want to go to a federal prison camp, right? And so I got that lucky. But now it's even better. Guys are getting less and less sense. But then they are cracking down. I got a few. There's a guy that got 20 years. Let me see. I've got some stories here. They're cracking down on some and easing up on others.
Time to stop worrying about that and move forward in this country.
Oh, I already seen this one. Not that one. This one.
Lastly, a man convicted of kidnapping and assaulting 2 women and then locking one of them in a cinder block cell has learned his fate. Today, a federal judge sentenced Nagasi Zuberi to life in prison. Back in October, a federal jury convicted him.
Life in prison, and they're about to show you his little make shed thing that he put these women in.
Of kidnapping a woman in Seattle, sexually assaulting her, and then driving her more than 400 miles across state lines to his home in Klamath Falls. That's where authorities say he kept her in a...
Yeah, let me pull this. Let me show you this picture full screen. Look at this.
A makeshift cinder block prison in his garage. According to investigators, the woman escaped after a few hours and then flagged somebody down who then called for help. Zuberi was also found guilty of kidnapping another woman 2 months earlier.
Can you believe that, man? I don't know if they were hookers, they picked up on them or brought them there, but man, throw them in a life sentence, man, a life sentence. Yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, Ken, what's he got? He was at the Duluth camp, yeah, which is now closed because there's a guy named Brian Cordy. He's been on this show before he went in a couple times. He called me. He said, "I'm leaving tomorrow, man. They're shipping me to." He went to Oregon, Sheridan, Oregon. Yeah, I think 7 camps. Now, not all camps, but 7 prisons have closed. I think 4 of them were camps. 1 or 2 of them were women's. But yeah, man, they're closing stuff down, and that's scary for the guy hasn't been sentenced yet. Because, like, does that mean I have to go to, like, a medium now if there's no room in the camp? I don't know. Let's hope not, huh? Here's another one.
Continuing at his advocacy work in prisons. And recently, he celebrated his #1 single at Riverbend Maximum Security in Nashville.
Oh, yeah, check this out.
He sang his song, I Am Not Okay, here to over 300 inmates there. Lady Wilson also joined him. The Tennessee Department of Corrections says that visit changed prisoners' lives, and they thanked him for his continuous support for second chances.
So I don't know if you guys know who Jelly Roll is, but you probably heard his name. He did a lot of time in prison, and he goes back to prison now, and they let him, they let him in. They let him, like you saw, he gets to visit people. I mean, it's great, man. You know what I mean? I got turned on to him. Somebody told me that you got to check this guy out, man. He's been in prison and stuff, man.
You fucking kidding me? What the fuck? I'm not fucking Justin Bieber, you motherfuckers.
No, he's Jelly Roll, man. So let's see. We got some comments. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, they are sending a bunch of the inmates to Colorado too. Yeah, so I went to Florence, Colorado. It's a complex, so it has a Supermax, which was my day job because I was at the camp, and camps are labor camps basically. So we got driven over to the Supermax every day by an inmate, but there's a penitentiary there, and there's an FCI medium. There's 4 different ones, and they were going to close Florence down. It was down to 80 inmates like a year and a half ago, something like that. Because I get guys call me all the time, that coming out of there or going in there, and now I think 500 inmates. It's fully. They had closed one of the building. There was 2 housing units. They had one closed for like renovation, and I guess it's all built up now. And they must have hired staff because they were short staffed and everything. They were going to close that down. It was on the list, and now it's booming. So, yeah, you just never know with the feds, man. You never know with the feds. Here's another story.
Teenage girl held captive for more than a year in her own home. The frightening scenario happening in North Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's according to police who rescued her and arrested her mother, grandmother, and a man living there. Kim Passoff live in the neighborhood near North 5th Street and Alexander tonight. Kim?
Yeah, here on Spirit Sun Court, police say that it is that 2-story home behind me where the girl was held captive. Neighbors say is a normally quiet neighborhood. The sound coming from the backyard of the home where the girl was rescued. To get down, asking a neighbor for food and water. She claimed her parents had locked her in her bedroom and did not feed her or let her use the bathroom. The girl began to cry, asking the neighbor not to tell anyone. She did not want to be punished. That neighbor called police. An officer began a welfare check. Inside the room where the girl was held, there was no bed, only a box spring and a bed frame and a pink sheet on the floor. There were empty wooden dressers, stuffed animals, and a roll of toilet paper. She appeared to use a bucket as a restroom. The door did not have a knob. Instead, it had a deadbolt which required a key. The girl told police she had been a prisoner locked in the room for at least a year.
Get the fuck out of here, Tommy.
You motherfucker! I almost had him! You stuttering prick, yeah.
Child abuse charges and false imprisonment charges. According to North Las Vegas police, a records check of the family showed CPS had 8 previous reports. There were allegations of abuse and neglect, but upon CPS investigation, there was not enough cooperation or evidence to pursue.
So you know what? If I see a creepy van pull up in my neighborhood, my block or whatever, and little kids are being brought in the house and then brought back into the van, I'm calling the cops. Okay, not that I'm, I mean, is that snitching? I don't know, man. But if you stab my mother in front of me, man, I'm fucking calling the cops because I'm not gonna. I would like, I might kill you, but like, I've had this discussion before with my other buddies, because there's about 6 guys that I talk to all the time here in Albuquerque. We hang out. We all did time together. We're still friends. And I say, if the creepy van pulls up and little kids going in there, some of the guys say, "Oh, I'll handle it myself. I'll go kill the motherfucker." But then you're back in prison. But I can't call the cops. I'll call the cops. Call me a snitch. I don't care, man. If I know there's a girl fucking being held, kidnapped for a fucking year in her place, like she got out of the window and that neighbor called the cops, yeah, I'll call the cops. I'm not going back to prison for your bullshit. But you stab my mother in front of me, yeah, I'll probably kill you. And then I will go to prison. But, got to draw the line somewhere, man, Let's check out this next one.
39-year-old Kyle Carlisle, seen here, was sentenced to more than 7 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to wire fraud and money laundering charges in a COVID-19 loan scheme. According to court records, the charges are related to loans received through the CARES Act and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. Officials say Carlisle made multiple false statements in his applications, receiving $600,000 in 4 separate instances. Along with his sentence, he will have to pay back more than $500,000 in restitution.
I owe $1.7 million in restitution. Same kind of thing. But, I did my time. I paid my debt to society. I have to pay $100 a month for the rest of my life or more, if I have it. But yeah, he got more time than I got. That's for sure. And I will never do it again. And I did tax fraud, if you guys don't know, for imagine your neighborhood where all the homeless people are, because I was actually homeless. And I was in a shelter kind of place, a transitional housing thing. And a guy came in there and wanted his taxes done. And one thing led to another. The other guy says, "Oh, I know a guy that'll get you a couple $1,000 back." And I work for him. He's a lawyer. And I said, "Let me see those papers." And he's trying to recruit me. Anyways, I go, "This lawyer it's a template, man. I could do this." So he goes, "You can?" Well, he's only giving me $50. I go, "I'll split the money with you." I mean, besides, anyways, long story short, we decided to take 20%, and this guy got $5,000 or $6,000, 3 years worth of refunds. And then he told 2 friends, and he told 2 friends, and I was out of that shelter before you know it, and training other people how to do it, and it blew up. And at the time, I was like, what are they going to do? Give me 3 hots in the cot, feed me, house me, clothe me? I'm in a shelter. What do I care? Well, that's exactly what they did. And I thought I was stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Still, it's the government's money. Don't you know what they do with their taxes? I mean, hell, at least all that justifying. I stole from the government. It doesn't matter who you steal from. Okay, it's stealing. Okay, and I've learned that the hard way. Okay, I mean, I won't even steal a banana at Walmart. I mean, I went to Walmart the other day and, you know, everything's locked up. And I said, excuse me, can I get somebody to unlock the bananas for me? It's that bad, man. I know, guys, they can't go in the store without stealing the candy bar. I go, you got to steal something? Really? Damn, you know, and they got the money, but they got to steal something. It just drives me crazy, man. Drives me crazy. Here's another story.
That breaking news, former Omaha councilman Vinny Palermo is out of federal prison, released 4 months early.
He's been in custody for nearly 18 months. In this 6 News exclusive, Brian Mastery asked his attorney why he got out now.
There's a number of things that go on in the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. A lot of it has to do with alleviating overcrowding and things like that, and awarding the prisoners for some good behavior and that sort of thing, and for completing certain programs.
While Vinny Palermo is out of prison, the federal system will still watch over him. He must check in every month for the next 2 years as part of his sentence.
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. It's just a continuation of what he said at his sentencing, is that he is extremely remorseful for what happened, and he's extremely remorseful for what he did to not only himself, but his family and all of his friends, and of course his constituents.
With Vinny Palermo's release now, and former Omaha police officer Richie Gonzalez getting out early in July, that leaves 2 others involved in the public corruption scandal. Jack Olson hasn't been sentenced yet. As for former Omaha police officer Johnny Palermo, no relation to Vinny, he too is back in Omaha now. Also an early release from federal prison.
Early release.
Caught up to his attorney this afternoon.
I just spoke with Mr. Palermo. Johnny's home now with his family. I'm glad he's out. He's on home confinement for about 30 days, and then he'll be on post-release supervision, and he'll get back into society and integrate himself, and I think he'll be a very good citizen and valued member of our community again.
Investigators said Johnny Palermo misused funds from the Latino Peace Officers Association for trips, meals, and gambling, and paid for some of Vinny's trips. I was curious, with Johnny being a former police officer, if that caused him trouble with other.
Well, I don't know.
You don't mean to be out of order. Jeez, it's good you don't mean to be out of order, Sonny. You call embarrassing me in front of my friends, don't know, like calling me a fucking deadbeat, you know.
Yeah.
Of federal prison, released 4 months.
Federal prisoners.
He told me that he had so much respect from all the guys he was at. He was obviously a little concerned, just, you know, thinking, oh man, I'm a police officer, but he said everyone was just really nice to him, and Johnny's a pretty likable guy. I'm sure he got along with everybody.
On your side in Omaha, Brian Mastery, 6 News.
In addition to the prison time, the councilman and 2 former police officers were ordered to pay back $142,000. As for the 4th individual, Jack Olson, the chief fundraiser in this scheme, he will be sentenced in December.
There was about a dozen cops at my camp, and they didn't really have, a couple of them had a few problems. None of them got beat up, but there's one guy, he got threatened one day, and it worked out. I mean, nobody, a couple of them I got to talk to, like on the real, and one guy went undercover, and for like, a couple of years, and it got to him, and he was supposed to be an undercover, for a drug bust, and then he started selling the drugs on the side and keeping the money, and got caught up. There was a big conspiracy. He was a Bakersfield police guy, and he told me, so he ended up snitching on the other guys, and he goes, I can't go back home. The cops will fucking kill me because I snitched on them, and there was a whole bunch of them doing it, and they all didn't get caught, but half of them did. And he was more afraid of when he got out. I mean, he said, I'm safer here. You know what I mean? But these cops, cops are people too. I've got a few of them that have called me over the years, and one cop called me, and he calls me a few times. David, I got to give him a call because he beat up, went overboard, right? Trying to arrest somebody, and the guy resisted, and he lost it, and so he ended up getting probation though. But and I don't know. It was a reverse thing. He's a black cop, and I think the guy was white. So the media's not going to run with that one. And he got probation, but he was scared to death, man. I mean, lose, his whole career. I think he lost his pension. But these guys are real. I used to hate cops. But when I've had cops call me up and ask for my advice, and I remember talking to David once. I go, wait a minute, wait. You're a cop, and you're calling a felon and asking me for advice. Well, something's changed in the world, man. And we were both laughing about it. But yeah, I got over all that. They're real people. When you do time with somebody who used to be a cop, and they'll talk to you. Boy, I asked a lot of questions, or they asked me. We just talked, and they're real people. So I don't think of them like I used to. And today's cops, they're snitching on each other now, man. I did a story about all the cops here in Albuquerque getting busted for DUIs and everything else, and they're all snitching on each other. So their good old boy network's not happening no more. Anyways, guys, I think that's about it. Nobody else is chatting and stuff. Because I'm just getting back to making videos. So I there was a time my chat room will be full, but the more I do, the more I get out there. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna do one tomorrow. I know that because I'm off work tomorrow. I got some free time. So yes, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.